Okay, I am back. I am back. I am back. I am back. This is Mimosa Chronicles, and I am here to talk about this janky Tory Lanez trial. I had to step away for a moment, and I'm back. Okay, so listen up. First of all, I apologize because I was supposed to be here yesterday. I'm committed to come on and talk this trial daily, to give you all updates, those who are not able to read the transcripts and those who are not able to follow it in the news. I'm dedicated to let you guys know what's going on. So I apologize. I wasn't here yesterday, but listen, I was working, okay? And I'm just now getting in. As soon as I got in, I took a shower, went ahead and set up the computer, and I said, you know what? Let me come on and talk to my people and let them know what's going on. First of all, let me just say this. You blogs need to stop lying. I literally was working today from like 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time until maybe about an hour ago. Came in, took a shower, all of that. I don't know how many times I was getting alerts that supposedly the jury had came to an unanimous decision that he was found not guilty, that Tory Lanez was found not guilty. It was at one point I was getting the alert so much, and I kept saying to myself, there's no way he was found not guilty on all three charges. Like, because it was just coming in. It was coming in. So many different blogs was posting that they had deliberate. And I was saying to myself, they deliberated that quickly and came up to a verdict. So I go on and I look and I'm like, they are still deliberating. How in the world are these blogs saying that this man has been found not guilty? Red flag, number one. Number two, there were certain blogs and people who were there in the courtroom that I was kind of following and listening in to what the things that they were saying. But I kid you not, about 4 days ago, I realized that every last one of them were liars, because what they were saying and what they were saying on social media, and they were doing like reels and making videos, and a lot of their stuff was going viral on Shade Room, on Kyle's page. What's Kyle's page? Neighborhood Talk, some of the other very popular blogs on Instagram. They were going completely viral, and they were telling blatant lies and spreading the lies to mass audiences. And how I know that they were telling blatant lies is because if you just pay $1, you can be able to get the transcripts online yourself. And what they were saying was not lining up with what the transcript was saying. And I was just like, these people are just lying. And then it makes you wonder, who is paying these people? Like, who's paying them off? Like, this is what's going on in your mind. Mind you, when I first came into this, I knew that Megan had been shot. Who she had been shot by, I did not know. She said that it was Tory. So I was going off that Tory had shot her, because who better to be an eyewitness than Megan? Who better? However, when you have this media train and hate train spewing lies, it makes you wonder who really is on trial. So what we're going to do tonight, I'm going to try to be as fast as possible. We're going to break this thing down. I'm going to, reference back and forth with some things that I actually noticed after reading the transcript a second time and a third time, and I just was like, wait a minute, that makes no sense. And I hope that after I say this commentary, that you all consider what I'm saying and you all take that into consideration too. At this point, we're the jury of her peers, of everyone's peers. So our opinion is just as important as the opinion of those jurors who are now deliberating. So let's go ahead and break it down. First of all, I'm going to tell you several blogs. Do not listen to them because they're liars. The guy who has been going viral a lot, his username is Lawyer for Workers. He's a liar. He absolutely is. And I'm not going to say allegedly. He's a liar. There were things that he said in his commentary when he was making his videos that did not line up with what was said in the transcripts. He's not telling the truth. Academics, don't listen to him either. He's not telling the full truth either. The Milano, and the thing is I actually liked her commentary outside of this trial. And even when the trial first started, she was one of the main people I was listening to. And then it was something that she said, but I had already read the transcript. That particular day, I had just so happened to already have read the transcript. And then I went back because I was questioning myself, like, no, that's not what I read. She said one thing, and then I said, that's not what I read. And so then I went back to the transcript, I jotted down, to make sure I check on this in the transcript. And I wish that I would have written down verbatim what she said so that I could be able to tell you all what she said and then what the transcript said. But long story short, there were two contradictions. So you can't even go off of the words of the people that are there in the courtroom, because a lot of times they're going to tell you their interpretation of something instead of telling you what the facts are and what it is that the witness said on the witness stand. So that's the first thing. Listen, do not listen to these blogs at all. You want to know the truth behind the case, go and pay $1 and get the transcripts. It's just that simple. Okay. Another thing that disgusts me, and this is the problem that we have as Black women, we do not stick together. The disgusting behavior of certain individuals just within the past 24 hours, I was just like, this is so low vibrational and just bruised fruit. Like, I just was completely disgusted. Joe Budden has one of the most popular podcasts, has a huge platform, and then to go on your platform and say the things that you said about this woman, and she's been shot. She's been shot. She didn't ask to be shot. And it doesn't matter if you don't like her, if she hurt your feelings, or she bruised your ego, or she hurt your friend's feelings. That does not warrant this woman to be shot and then to be attacked like she has by the media. Then E.J. King, a Law and Order reel of you giving your, I don't even know what that was. I don't know if it was an interview. I don't know what it was. I don't even know who those people were. But you're outside of the courtroom talking about, oh, I need to have my day in court. I finally was able to. And the sad part is I was really rooting for you. And I was really rooting to hear your testimony. And honestly, it was another person who's putting Megan on trial instead of just stating the facts of the case. Disgusted. And then you have the nerve to play a Law and Order sound effect while you are giving a fake interview or whatever that was. Very low vibrational. And it's crazy because if you all listen to my previous video, I speak very highly of this man. Extremely, very highly of this man, because I assumed he was a certain type, he had a certain type of caliber. I was definitely wrong because that was very distasteful what he did. Now, this is what really pissed me off. These three women right here. And this is why I talk about us as Black women not supporting each other. but we will rather support a black man who is physically, verbally, financially, and a lot of times also spiritually abusive. Someone said this, I believe it was the King of Reeds. He said something, I'm going to paraphrase. Basically, we will sacrifice ourselves to allow a black man to live. And if that's not the truth, Emily B, Eva Marcel, and Hazel E, of all people, had the nerve to comment under EJ King's post on Instagram and have their little laugh. Now, Emily B, weren't you the one outside screaming and hollering because either the neighbors recorded it or was it on the Ring camera where Fabulous beat your face in to the point where you were missing your front teeth, but you laughing at Megan getting shot? It's funny. It's funny. You're so funny. Hazel E, aren't you the same one who, instead of immediately going to the police, decided to have a PR stunt and show how your husband, because he still is your husband because you're not divorced yet, and show how your husband was abusing your daughter? And instead of going to the police, you decided to present the video in front of your Instagram peers. But EJ's so funny because you want to make comments in the comment section. And Eva Marcel. And the sad part is I really like Eva. But I don't like this raggedy ish that you did. You were one of the main people speaking about the father of your child and how abusive he was to you and how you had to move time after time after time after time after again because of his harassment. But it's funny, a Law and Order sound effect while somebody is pretending to play court outside of a courthouse, dressed in a fuchsia. We're not going to even go there. My whole point is this. Ladies, black ladies, women of color, I am telling you all right now, you better learn how to protect yourself. Because if this, what I just explained, isn't self-explanatory alone, for you all to learn how to protect yourself and to defend yourself and to love yourself more than you love a lot of this raggedy ninja behavior, you're going to end up dead. Because Megan sure almost did, especially after we heard the testimony from the neighbor. What was his name? Kelly? How he said that Tory, the short man, had the gun and began to shoot wildly. But these people still want to protect him. But we'll get to that part later on. Let's just focus on what I have here. Now, if there are content creators that you want to listen to that are going to tell you unbiased commentary, and they are going to go strictly off of the transcripts, these are the following people. Nosy Ho, You may or may not believe in some of her points or views. I don't care. When it came to this case, she was one of the only Black women who stayed on topic and stayed along with the facts of the case and what was said in the transcript. King Payne, he's another one. He actually goes down to the courthouse every single day and pretty much has been there pretty much every single day until the LAPD held him. But you would need to go over to his, they ended up holding him and questioning him about some things, but you would have to go over to his page and you can listen to that direct commentary come from his mouth. I don't want to paraphrase or tell that man's story. If you want to hear what transpired, go over to his page and listen to him. But he definitely is someone who is unbiased. There are two other ladies who are unbiased. Nancy Dillon, she's on Twitter, and Megan Cuniff, she's on Twitter as well. So those are 4 individuals where you can hear unbiased commentary. Now, Megan, this is my issue with you. Even after you were shot and beaten, because now we find out from the neighbor that you were actually beaten as well. You were physically beaten by 3 people. You still tried to protect them. I'm going to be honest with you, Megan. As much as I'm so angry that the world is ridiculing you and that they are trying to find fault in you and all these other things, like, I get it. I get it. My dear, I get it. I don't buy that you were just trying to protect them. It's something else that transpired, and I get it. You don't feel like addressing it. But I do ask this: when you write your memoir, or when you do an interview years down the road, we, the people who really are supporting you and want you to find justice, we would like to know, other than the generic, I was trying to protect them, that we're in the height of a pandemic, Black Lives Matter movement was going on, there was a lot of racial discrimination. I understand all of that, but I want to know the real truth other than that, because I don't buy that it was just that. It's too many facts in this case that show that there was something else going on other than that. Now, I can't put my finger, I've tried to piece some things together, but that's just my theory. That's not a fact. So what I'm asking you to do, because you had your opportunity to say it in court and you didn't, but I see you, and I know that there's more to that. Okay. So there's 2 other points that I want to make, and then, I'm going to call it a night. So as I was saying the other day, I really was interested in hearing from the driver. I felt like he would be the person that definitely would need to come on as a witness, whether it be for the defense or for the prosecution. Only because he had a front row seat to everything that was going on, and he was the driver. But then after we get that damaging witness statement in that testimony from, the neighbor whose name was Kelly, and he says basically that the driver was attacking Megan as well, and there was a rumble that occurred between the 2 women outside of his residence. and how the driver broke it up violently. He didn't say he just broke it up, but basically he was very aggressive. And then there was even a point where the eyewitness said that Tory, Kelsey, and the driver were attacking the woman. Absolutely disgusting. So after that testimony came out, it was to a point where everybody was like, oh, Tory, you have to go on the stand. You're going to have to go on the stand. But as you all know, the court had only allotted a certain amount of days to be dedicated to this trial. And I believe it was like 10 days. So mysteriously, Jaquan Smith has been missing this entire time, and miraculously, he appears and he's there to testify. However, what I find to be very strange is that he didn't testify. You know why he didn't testify? Because that was never his intention to testify. It was all to convince the jury that Tory was innocent. Let me break this down for you all because I think it might have went over your head. Jaquan Smith was never going to testify. Everyone already knew that there was only going to be a certain amount of days allotted for this trial, period. So they bring in Jaquan Smith the very last day, literally the day that has been dedicated to closing arguments practically, okay? And at this point, it's a matter of if Tory's going to hit the stand or if Jaquan's going to hit the stand. If Tory hits the stand, they are allowed to bring up all of his past transgressions. That means they're able to bring up his incident with Travis Scott. They're able to bring up his incident with Love and Hip Hop star Prince. They're able to bring up his incident with August Alsina. They're able to bring up his incident with his child's mother. They're able to bring up his past incident with his previous bodyguard and driver, the one that ended up taking a gun charge for him. And I'm telling you, Tory would have been nailed to the cross. And he ain't nobody's savior, okay? So I'm letting you all know, Jaquan was a plant from the beginning. So they knew, the defense knew what they were doing when they allowed him to appear. And of course, this throws off the prosecution because they're not expecting him to show up. So when he shows up, they feel like they need a little more time to be able to get some things together because, of course, they had no idea that he was going to be a witness. But guess what the defense comes in and says? Hey, we don't want to prolong this trial and push it into the holidays. We're just going to excuse this witness. If that's not manipulation, and guess what? In the juror's mind, now they're saying, oh, well, he showed up in court, so maybe Tory isn't lying. No, Tory is a liar. He's a liar. He's a liar. And we're going to get into that, and we're going to get into how Kelsey's a liar as well. So I'm over it with the Jaquan situation. So let's talk about Kelsey. So I found it very odd that when it came down to Kelsey and her giving her witness statement in court or her testimony in court, she was so specific when it came to Meg. She knew so many intricate details when it came to Meg. But when it came to basic things like, did you see Tory with a gun? Did you see Tory shoot a gun? Did you see Tory shoot Megan? did you and Tory get into a physical altercation? She could never give any type of defined yes or no answer. Then what I also found to be very odd, they specifically asked her about if her and Meg got into an altercation. And she said, oh, we might have bumped into each other. I found that very odd. Then there was another part of the cross-examination where she was asked about the verbal altercation and verbal assaults that happened in the car. They asked specifically about her argument with Tory and her argument with Megan, or Tory's argument with Megan. She very nonchalantly just said, oh, we were all arguing. I found that very odd because, again, here it is. She can be specific with one thing, but with other things she don't have an answer to. It was almost like she had selective everything. She had selective hearing. She had selective memory. She had selective postpartum. She had she had so much selective everything. And it was just like, ma'am, what can you remember? At this point, I honestly feel like she she pled the fifth and the immunity again just to create reasonable doubt and to throw off the prosecution. Like, it's sad. And like I said, when I first came on here, I was very I was sad about what was going on with Meg, and I did feel, and I definitely felt and do feel, and I'm almost 99% sure that Tory fought, assaulted, attacked, and banged Meg. Shot her. Absolutely. And at the time, I definitely felt that the defense had created reasonable doubt because that's what I felt. I definitely felt that. But now, if they think logically like I do, there's no way that there's reasonable doubt. Let me explain. First of all, it takes 8.5 pounds of pressure in order to fire that semi-automatic weapon. There's no way you can be able to fire off that many shots accidentally. Also, the defense was trying to allude or insinuate that Kelsey is actually the person who was firing the weapon, and then Tory may have possibly wrestled the gun away from her. Now, there was a ring light that was able to pick up on the sound of the assault, altercation, shooting. Now, I've been on a few panels this week, and one in particular, King Payne was on, and he spoke about how he wanted to hear the gunshots because he, just like me, was going off the transcripts. And if you were going off the transcripts, you were reading the transcripts, you knew that she had been shot. You knew that she had been shot. You knew that the doctor had taken the what pieces of bullet fragments he could out of her foot. Excuse me. There were certain things that you knew to be factual. However, when it came down to the witness and him saying there were sparks that came from the woman, but he never saw a gun in the woman's hand. He never even saw the flash of the muscle. He just said, I saw a flash. He couldn't tell if it was a muscle or what. He basically was saying he thought it was fireworks. Okay, so if you go off of that information alone, what we know is that there were gunshots. but he thought that they were fireworks. So what King Payne said was he knows that there would have to be some type of pause. You know, if there is a struggle and supposedly you're struggling over a gun, there has to be some type of pause. When I tell you King Payne said that those shots just rang out so clearly and there was no pause, I said, wow, it was one shooter. It wasn't two. I said, it's open and shut. It was one shooter. It wasn't two. And if the eyewitness is saying that he shot me, it is what it is. Megan said, Tory shot me. Kelsey, in her statement to the police, in her 80-minute recorded statement to the police before she was bribed and she married the official over at 1501 Records, she said at that time Megan had been shot and Tory did it. There is the text message. There is the jail phone call where he is apologizing profusely. And I don't want to hear that he was apologizing just to apologize because he had slept with two friends. No. He had done some very, very disgusting things. And it involved a gun. Okay. Now I'm going to wrap this up and it's going to be the final thing because I'm extremely tired and I'm pushing through so I can get this done and get this to you all. Kelsey is one of the biggest liars ever. That broad is so disgusting. So if you remember, EJ King was there earlier this week, and there was a lot of discussion from the defense's part about this luggage. EJ, didn't you put the luggage in the trunk? He tells the defense, yes, he did. So then when they show him the pictures of the crime scene and they show him photos of inside of the vehicle, he sees that the luggage is in the back seat. And he says, oh my goodness, I didn't put the luggage in the back seat. I don't know how it got in the back seat. I put it in the trunk. Let me tell you what they're not telling you about that luggage in these crime scene photos. According to King Payne, those photos show that vehicle was full of blood. Blood was everywhere. Not only that, the headrest was literally bent, which means that it was something seriously physical. A serious physical altercation went on inside of that vehicle. And two, there was blood everywhere. According to King Payne, and you actually see the photos, there was blood on the center console. There was blood all over the back seats. There was blood all over Megan and all over Kelsey as well. Now, let me explain why this is so significant. If you remember, and if you go back to those transcripts from Kelsey's day in court, the prosecutor specifically asked her, did she know that Megan was shot? On the stand, Kelsey said, oh, her team said that she had stepped on glass. The prosecutor asked her again, were you aware that Megan was shot? Kelsey, again, playing the dumb role. So fast forward past that question. Let's get on to the blood and the ballistics. They asked Kelsey, did you know that Megan was hurt and did you see her bleeding? Kelsey says, I didn't see any blood. I don't remember. I don't recall seeing any blood. King Payne said that there was so much blood on Kelsey and on her feet that the blood had dried and literally had what's the word that I'm looking for? Had like clumped up almost on her feet. There was so much blood because she was wearing sandals. But this woman lies and tells the prosecutor she don't remember seeing any blood. And according to King Payne, there's no way you wouldn't have been able to see the blood because the blood was everywhere. And that's what I mean by these janky blogs and these janky gossip channels and sites. They're not telling the complete truth. And it's sad because many of them that you all look up to are actually in the courtroom and they're not telling you about the video of Meg in the back of the ambulance and how this girl was so distraught and how bloody she was. And this is what I want you all to understand. Kelsey blatantly lied. Kelsey said, "Oh, I don't recall seeing any blood. I don't remember." The girl has selective memory as well. So you mean to tell me Kelsey, with all that blood that was on her, went to her hotel room or her apartment or whatever and took a shower and did not see the blood running off of her body? That girl is a liar. And anybody who continues to still want to argue about her and her testimony is full of it. How are you going to sit up here and say you don't recall seeing any blood? You don't remember about any blood when the blood all over you? Y'all, I'm done. When I tell y'all this case has been engulfing my mind outside of work, Megan, I don't know if you will ever see this video. My heart goes out to you. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and baby you because at the end of the day, you're a grown woman. And instead of protecting yourself, you decided to protect people who have shown you nothing, but they some leeches and killers. And for whatever reason, I still feel like even in court, you were still trying to protect the little bit of whatever that was left. Girl, let them people go. Kelsey, let her go. Tory, let him go. You deserve better than friends like that. Lock them all up. Perjury. Like I said, this case has, I am praying for a guilty verdict. I am. In my heart of heart, do I feel like he would be convicted of all three? I hope not. Do I feel like, I apologize. Let me rephrase that. Do I feel like he will be convicted of all three? In my heart of heart, no, I don't. And it bothers me because of what this man did to her. But I pray that this is a lesson to all women and this is a lesson to Megan. Stop protecting these men that are trying to kill you. You all, good night. Hope that you all have an amazing day, an amazing holiday. Let's see how this verdict plays out tomorrow. Well, really, technically, is today. I hope that they do not deliberate past the holidays because the longer and longer they deliberate, the more questionable this outcome is. All right, everyone. Good night. This is Mimosa Chronicles. Let me know in the comment section how you all feel about this commentary. All righty, good night.